If you go to the government of Israel's website on their view on the lost tribes of Israel and who's from the house of Israel around the world, you'll notice one of the most common names in that report is the Igbo tribe, the Igbo tribe. And these are about, 40 or so million people in Nigeria that self-identify as being Jewish. And now there's, 60 Orthodox communities in there who have converted and are practicing Judaism. And the leader of the Igbo people, ruling over them, is trying to, create an independent Jewish state. And they have a whole Jewish revival going there. It's fascinating. And the government of Israel is loving it and they're supporting it. And Jewish people are making documentaries about it. And it's like the most exciting thing ever. And it's giving people a lot of biblical renewal.
I just had a Lyft driver yesterday telling me about all this, and I was kind of like, all right, what? It's all true. What you're talking about? It's crazy.
So your Lyft driver was Igbo from Nigeria?
I'm so sure that's what he was saying to me. Yeah, all this stuff. He was saying that he said Israel's been supportive.
So anytime I'm in Israel at the Western Wall and I see a Igbo man, I could tell because they're wearing Nigerian outfits, I say, are you Jewish? He's like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, bro, bring it in. Give me a hug.
No, that's what he said to me. He picked me up at a Jewish community center. He goes, are you Jewish? And I went, yeah. He goes, this place, is this house of worship, or this is what is this place? And I told him what the JC. It's like, it's a community center. They do events. It's about a building community. They do all sorts of. They take people from all races. I said, yeah. He's like, I am from Nigeria. Igbo. He didn't say and when I said Nigerian, he's like, not Nigerian, Igbo. Yeah. Not Nigerian. I am Igbo. I am Jew. And we're trying to do what Israel did. They're supporting us. Then he started going on this whole thing.
Yes, because Nigeria is just a name that the British threw onto the amalgamation of a bunch of different tribes there that destabilized the region and led to a genocide and a Holocaust of the Igbo people. Where in the 1960s, millions of them were systematically killed and murdered.
Yeah, he told me about that too, but I was running late. So
it's so this is so relevant because we have such a never again Holocaust theme, but these people had it. But what is mind-boggling to me, which I can't imagine why this is not in the news and not spoken about, is that a large chunk, more than a fourth of the transatlantic slave trade came specifically from this one tribe. So how are we not starting to connect dots and being like, wait a minute. So the tribe in Africa that the government of Israel is fascinated with and, enamored by is now the blood of those people flowing through the African-American community here, which makes sense to me why they're all being like, we have an Israelite affinity where we're identifying this is us. We are this. And so I'm like, so yeah, if the DNA of the blood of these people are in them, they have a valid claim to feel and say that. Where it goes wrong then is where spiritual bullies come and hijack that reality into forming cults that create hate, and etc. So those are the people I battle. I'm not battling the reality that you could be from the house of Israel. Because, like I said, the bottle shattered and glass went around the whole world. I'm battling the bullies that are standing in between you and your inheritance, which is the Torah. Because if you really are from the house of Israel, come back towards the Torah. It's perfectly been preserved throughout the exile, which is what guys like Amari Stoudemire did.
Hello, good morning, SM viewers. This is Satellite Media. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Looking at this conversation that we just listened to, of course, from Israeli citizens, talking about the origin of the Igbos, the Biafrans in Nigeria, I think it is now abundantly clear that the Igbos are from Israel, of course, from the lineage of God. Because from the conversation we just listened to, you can clearly see those Israelis acknowledging that if you go to Israeli websites and you are looking for the lost tribe of Israel, the first people that call to mind or the first tribe you see that is prominent in that website is Igbos in Nigeria. And from what you can clearly see, though the Igbos are clearly made it very clear that they are Jew. And apart from that, there are so many other proof that points to that fact that the Igbos originated from Israel. And we recall that sometime in 2016 or so, had a situation where some Israeli scientists came all the way from Israel to Nigeria to conduct a DNA test. Of course, we understand that their major area of the major area where they did that is Newi as a part of Igbo land. So, since some Israeli scientists, physicians, coming all the way from Israel to Nigeria to conduct such tests, of course, It's a clear testimony that the Israelites themselves are aware that they have their brothers here. And we have seen so many videos online where Israeli citizens actually acknowledge that the Igbos are from the same tribe with them. And if you even go to come down here in Nigeria, you see so many archaeological facts that point to that fact that actually this is where the Igbos come from. And if you look at the marginalization of the Igbos in Nigeria, you look at the way Nigerian government treat the Igbos, you understand that it is a semblance of what the Jew go through in the hands of those surrounding enemies in the Middle East. Because I understand that naturally, if you have great destiny, it is always surrounded with adversity and all of that. Because if you look at even the scripture, made it very clear where it said, before me is a virtual door are open before me, but before me is adversities. I think God was talking about Paul. So this is applicable to anyone that have a great destiny. Of course, we understand that even back in Nigeria, that best explains the reason the Igbos are treated with disdain, are treated with all manner of hatred, are marginalized, are suppressed in all fronts. We are seeing play out in every human endeavor in Nigeria, both in the particularly in the political arena, because, and of course, that gave rise to "We Must Go" that is currently happening in Biafra land, a situation where Anena Kanu, who have risen to the occasion to propagate or rather to demand the freedom of his people, is now in DSS captivity. And again, I think at this point, the government of Nigeria must give priority attention to people who are agitating that they want to go. Because however I look at it, we are seeing serious level of insecurity in the southeastern part of Nigeria. And almost every stakeholder has spoken in that direction that the panacea for peace in that region is to free the man, Nnamdi Kanu. So of course, I'm using this avenue and opportunity to equally admonish federal government to see the freedom of the man, Nnamdi Kanu, because we have seen personalities in Nigeria who have done serious evil to this nation, who the government will use the window of perhaps reintegration of repentant terrorists into the society to let them go. Of course, his regular occurrence is Boko Haram members who often lay down arms according to as government want to make us believe, and they are reintegrated into the society after the de-radicalization process. So if Nnamdi Kanu, who have not been caught with arm, who the only thing he committed is to say, I want my people to go, I want a referendum. And of course, we understand that even here in Nigeria, referendum is entrenched in a UN charter. Of course, self-determination itself is entrenched in a UN charter, which Nigerian government is a signatory to. So to that extent, if someone is coming through the angle of, I want my own sovereign state through referendum, through self-determination, and the person is doing it within the ambits of the law, without wanton destruction of lives and property, that person have not committed any offense, both locally and internationally. So that is why the government must see to the freedom of the man, Nnamdi Kanu, as a panacea for peace in the region. Though Nnamdi Kanu have maintained, even in captivity, that he is committed to freedom of his people, that is committed to referendum, which of course Nigerian government cannot fault. No government. You have equally seen recently how the foreign affairs minister from Russia admonished UN and even countries of the world to going forward to start respecting the issue of self-determination. We understand that once you talk of self-determination, you talk of referendum, globally, the first thing that comes to mind is Biafra. And once you talk of Biafra, of course, the man Nnamdi Kanu epitomized that struggle. So the next thing that comes to mind again is Nnamdi Kanu. So, even back here in Nigeria, we are seeing different stakeholders from different perspectives coming and approaching federal government to seek a solution to how Nnamdi Kanu can be released. We saw the lives of Senator Ina Abaribe leading his colleagues from the eastern part of the country, meeting with the Attorney General of Federation to seek the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We have equally seen the lives of the minority caucus in the House of Representatives across board, across political divide, across geopolitical zone, both in the south-south, in the southeast, northwest, northeast, southwest, coming together and approaching federal government, admonishing federal government to release the man Nnamdi Kanu. The Nnamdi Kanu himself, going by the court of appeal judgment the other time, have set him free because Kenya government collaborated with Nigerian government to adopt him from Kenya to Nigeria. Of course, the court has ruled that he was extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, as such that the federal government of Nigeria have lost every right to prosecute him and he should be released unconditionally. We are equally seeing UN working group on arbitrary detention of admonishing federal government of Nigeria to release the man Nnamdi Kanu. The federal government has since appealed that case, and Nnamdi Kanu has made it very clear since Justice Omotosho started handling the case that he will soon get freedom. We hope and believe that the man will get justice, because even Nnamdi Kanu have told the whole world the other time that he's ready to remain in detention until there is an impartial judge to adjudicate his case with federal government of Nigeria. Let us hope that justice will be achieved at the end of the day, and let us hope that the government of Nigeria will have courage, will be courageous enough to confront that monster of Nigeria is indefeasible. Nigeria unity cannot be negotiated. Whereas in the mind of Nigerians, there is nothing like unity. Nigeria have already divided in the mind of Nigerians. What we have currently is a coercion by the federal government through the coercive power of the federal government. And the Bible says, can two work together except agree? So if you want Nigerians to work together, you must come through persuasion, through promotion of unity and ideas that can make people work together. We have seen recently how the Igbo youth shun enlistment into Nigerian army, a situation that has since made Nigerian army to be worried, particularly top military brass of Igbo extraction moving from state to state in the southeastern part of the country, admonishing people, particularly the youth, to see reason why they should embrace the military and build career in the military. With all the persuasion and all the strategy of government, I don't think I've needed any result, because in the mind of the average Igbo man, he has visited Nigeria. Thank you very much. This is Satlamida and Mr. Mat.
Yeah, it's a wonderful edition of Politics on the Street today. Today, it's no news that Dr. Ngozi Orabueze is set to commission the first Biafra Washington Embassy. Some persons are of the view that what has Dr. Ngozi Orabueze done to the history and to the struggle. Now she's bringing what she has done, that Donald Trump is set to commission this embassy. And then we've seen some persons come down to say that that embassy is just a jamboree. Such thing will never come into reality. Such thing will never come into existence. But the truth of the matter is that these people, are they not tired of the Fulani killings in Nigeria? Are they not tired? Just of recent, some days ago, the Fulani invaded Plateau State and killed over 16 people. Plateau State is now a crime zone whereby the Fulani can easily perpetrate their acts. And now nobody, even the government, is not coming out to condemn this killing. We don't know if the government, indirectly or directly, they are the ones sponsoring this killing. And now we've seen someone who has taken over this freedom, this agitator, all to ourselves to make it a reality. And yet, some persons are still coming out to condemn this woman, saying that this woman cannot lead the Biafra struggle. Then tell me, who is then fit to lead the struggle? Now that Mazi Samonepa has been given some restrictions of social media, and now we've seen someone who has come out of our own free will to lead this struggle. And some Igbo leaders are saying that will not become a reality. What does the Ohaneze Indigo really want? What does the Igbos elders who have been bribed by this government, what do they really want? They want everybody in the entire race to be wiped out so that nobody can come out and speak about the illegal mines in the southeast, where army, where we've seen some identified persons being killed on a daily basis. And now nobody is coming out to condemn the killing. And yet Dr. Ngozi Odabueze is making moves. And yet we've seen leaders, the Igbo leaders, coming out to condemn that move. The truth of the matter is, the enemy of a man is within his household. And we've seen that those who are against the Biafra struggles are not even outsiders. They are mostly people, even from the Igbo race. When Dr. Ngozi Odabueze announced that they are set to commission the Washington DC Biafran embassy, and that it will be done by the US President Donald J. Trump. We've seen Bianca Ojukwu tweets saying it is a lie from the pit of hell. Why don't you wait until that becomes a reality? Why can't you wait until it becomes a reality? The same people that was being used to kidnap Mazi Kanu all the way from Kenya, the same people that was being used to orchestrate the illegal arrest of Mazi Samonepa. And now we've seen a woman championing this case, this cause for referendum. And those who were supposed to champion this cause for referendum have even sold out in the freedom. They've sold out. What is it? Igobs have sold out. Southeastern governors have sold out, despite the killings in their domain, despite what is happening in their domain. Nobody is coming out to confront the government and tell them enough is enough. What we have today is people who are only after their own tummy, their own stomach. Is this how Mazi Kanu stood for the Biafra cause? Mazi Kanu stood for it with his life, despite the pains that man is going through today. The man has not renounced the struggle for Biafra. The man has not renounced the struggle for the agitation. But yet, we have some elders who claim they are evil elders. They are neither there or there. All what they do is today, Biafra in the morning, and then they would agitate for Biafra in the morning, and at night they are having meetings with those in the presidency just to scuttle the struggle. I am saying it here that nobody born of human can scuttle the struggle, because already the Biafra struggle is an ideology that can never be wiped out. It's an ideology starting from the days of Odumegu Ojukwu until date. It is still waxing stronger. Or those people who are saying Biafra is dead, who are saying Biafra is dead, are they not tired of slavery? Are they not tired of the Fulani Pines. Benue State has now become a death trap for people. Plateau State now, so many atrocities that these Fulani people have committed, and the Igbo leaders cannot come out and express their own grievances to it, cannot come out and condemn all this. Rather, we've seen them taking sides just because they want to become slaves to the Fulani, just because they want to become errand boys to the Fulani. But the question is, how long can we continue in this shenanigan? How long can we continue in this shenanigan? To me, it is a shenanigan. It is a shenanigan in the sense that you cannot continue to live in a country where we have murderers. We cannot continue to live in a country where there is no rule of law. The Fulani that has killed a lot of people till now has not been brought to book. The Fulanis have not been brought to book. Rather, the Pai and government is not even making plans that this whole killing thing would end soon. No plans from the government. No plans from the government that this whole killing would end anytime soon. And now we've seen Igbo leaders also not coming out to air their displeasure. Rather, they are indirectly supporting the government to buy. Are we going to sit down and watch until everyone is being butchered in the southeast? This is what Mazi Kanu predicted. Mazi Kanu predicted all of this, and now it is happening. It is happening that the Fulani is bent to Islamize Nigeria, and today is it not happening? It is happening. We've seen it. And the Fulanis want to Islamize Nigeria, and they think people will sit down and not speak out, just like the Igbo leaders have sat down and they are not saying anything to it. It is really a show of shame. It is a show of shame. If at this stage the government and the Igbo leaders cannot come out and speak up against the injustice of the one Nigeria. And kudos to Dr. Ngozi Oyagbeze for launching this Biafran embassy. Kudos to you. Kudos to you, man. Thank you for watching this podcast.